Yo! And welcome back to another Renegade-X Optimization video. So, quick recap. We changed the light from a directional dominant directional to just a directional. We gained about 10 FPS from that. We added a pre-computed visibility volume. We gained about 2 FPS off that. We get more in game than in the editor. Then we changed the culling on the foliage, which gave us quite a big boost. Got about 10 FPS off that. So yeah. Then last episode we added the culling distance volume and manually culled some objects. Together with that technique, with all those techniques and all those bits of tech, we have gained, let's have a look. I've got things selected. I want to go to game. Well, we've gained about 20 FPS so far. Bearing in mind that this is the worst place in the map. Pretty much anywhere else in the map I'm going to be getting 60, 57, 53, but I'm not on the ground. 60, 60. Oops. I'm not getting a lot here because of the trees, I believe. Okay, so from all that, I'm actually getting quite a lot of performance. But bearing in mind this is a big map with a lot of objects in it. You can bring the objects down. You can do a lot more stuff than what I'm actually doing in this basic tutorial. I'm going to go into some more advanced stuff, I believe, next. The next one after this, the next video. But okay, so we're going to go over a few things today. We can gain quite a bit of FPS by taking off dynamic shadows on the foliage. So if you go to the foliage editor, go to the eye, then go to lighting settings, you can take off dynamic shadows and accept dynamic dominant light shadows and accept the dynamic lights. If you do this for basically everything, you can gain a fair amount of FPS, but bearing in mind it can make your stuff look shit. Let's do this one quickly. Oops, what did I click there? Do 1, 3, 5. No, that's wrong. 1, 3, 5. That one. No. Okay, so this one does not like that. Oh, accept lights. Duh. That one's accepts lights. This one does not accept lights. Sorry, accept lights, and there we go. What this does, it will stop it casting shadows onto the ground. Go away, rude. Yeah, it'll stop things casting shadows onto the ground and other things. Like if I change the bushes, well, I got a lot of stuff in this map, but yeah, if I take all this out off the bushes as well, basically, except dynamic lights will do everything, but I'm going to gain some FPS off that. If I do all that later, showing you now that it does help. It might not help a lot, but it will help. Second thing we can do with lights or shadows is if we go to our main light, set all these to default. By default, this is actually alright. You don't particularly need any of this, but if you want to add more detail at a shorter distance, so basically if you want to keep the dominant directional light, you can. It does give you a massive boost, but it does help if you I say it gives you a massive boost. If you want to keep the dominant directional, you can. If your map doesn't really need to be optimized to that extent, because it is a nice thing. It gives you some nice fog. Like you can change the fog color on each side, and some other things. But you might notice with the crisp shadows, they're crisp all the time, and from a distance they're always crisp. You can actually bring the crispness down by cascading them. So you might notice on some games that the shadows in the background look absolute pants. Then in the middle they're somewhat better. Then right up close to you they're really, really nice. That's what this is going to do. This is in the Cascading Shadow map. We're going to put a distance up. The distance is from you to the end, basically. So I'm going to put about 2,000. Number of whole screen dynamic shadows. 2 is usually good, so you get a crap one and a good one. And shadow, well, it says here, if I could read, exponent that is applied to the Cascading Shadow transition distance and the factors and the whole screen radius. Come back. Right, yeah, you can read that. That's what it does. So mainly we keep this at 4. It's just a nice number, but depending on how many variants of shadow you get, depends on this number here and the distance to and from. It's a bit hard to see on this map because my lighting, my shadows are very, very dull, as in my light intensity, my bounces around kind of overshadow my shadows, or brighten up my shadows, should I say. You don't really see them and they kind of blend in. But on really bright maps, you can change all that by bringing down some of these values, like shadow extent. Here we go. If I bring this down, I'll probably get, I'll have to rebuild lights, of course. I'll get darker shadows, and then the light angle, blah 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 blah, intensity, light scale. So yeah, there's my shadows darkened. Unfortunately, I'll have to rebuild lights. So, and I just don't have the time tonight. It's like 8 PM and it's going to take 3 hours to build these lights. Even on preview, it takes 3 hours. So let's just dump that back to 3. And now my map is absolutely janked. So, yeah. You're welcome. So that's basic shadows. You can also, well, no, that's about it for shadows. In the next episode, I'm going to be going into more advanced stuff. Mainly what this rock over here does. As an example, see this rock? Doesn't disappear. It actually morphs into a different type of rock. I'm going to be doing that for this rock here, and these rocks. This rock here is actually going to be a pain in the ass. In fact, I might as well do it in this episode, thinking about it. No, better not actually. I'm running out of time and it's going to take a while. So yeah, you can see these rocks changing, and it doesn't actually bring down the draw calls, it brings down the poly count. but we'll get into that one in the next episode. But yeah, thanks for watching. I shall catch you in the next one. Ta-da.